everyone, I'm Dr. Rizwana, working as a professor of physics in Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. Today, we are going to discuss what exactly is outcome-based education and why today in all over the world, why different universities and colleges are following outcome-based education. And then after that, we are going to see how we can make our course, applied physics course, based on this outcome based education. So, first, before just taking applied physics course, how it is effective for outcome based education. Before that, first we'll just try to recollect what exactly is outcome based education, what are its principles, okay, what are the different processes involved, and how this outcome based education can be written. So it is based on factors. So all those first we are going to see, and then we are going to apply this to applied physics course. So first, when we talk about this outcome based education, of course, from the name itself, we can make out that we should provide education to students in such a way that after they end this course, after they come out of college or university with their degree, then that should be able to make them globally competitive. So they should be able to face global competition once they come out with this course. So as you can see here, and in this outcome based education, first and most important thing is designing a curriculum. So when we are designing a curriculum, so we have to design it in such a way that it should give clear idea to students about what they are going to do, what they will be able to do, and then we have to organize the curriculum as well as instruction and assessment in such a way that out of this course, what learning students are going to get. So that should be our main focus. So when we talk about this outcome based education, so first thing is we talk about in terms of curriculum. Mostly it is based on curriculum, and first is the designing of that curriculum, and how what are the instruction tools we are using in order to get that curriculum to students, and after that how we are assessing our students in that particular course that we are going to see. As you can see, talking about this outcome based education principle, first one is clarity of focus. So first principle of outcome based education is clarity of focus. So what do you mean by clarity of focus? So here, whatever teacher is going to teach them a particular course, it should be well defined. So what do you mean by well defined? It should be clearly focused on what students are going to know, understand, and they'll be able to do. So this is the first most important thing we have to focus on. So before itself, what teachers are going to do, they are going to design their curriculum in such a way that based on complete focusing what students after completing this course, what they are going to gain, what they are going to understand, and what after completing this course, what they will be able to do. So this focus should be there, clarity of focus should be there when we are focusing on curriculum based on outcome based education. And when we are talking about this focus, we can also say that teachers, they should focus on helping students. So main focus is not just memorizing or by hearting the course, but here we should focus on helping students to develop the knowledge, skills, and personalities. So this is very important thing. So when we talk about outcome based education, so here outcome of a particular course should be developing the knowledge, skills, and personality of a student that will make them achieve the needed outcomes that have been clearly articulated. So this is for when we are making designing a curriculum, we should focus so that students, they are going to gain knowledge as well as they are going to gain skills, as well as their overall development of personality will be there. And in the end, all this is done in order to achieve intended outcome which have been clearly articulated. Then second principle of outcome based education is designing down. So how exactly we are designing a curriculum. So as you can see, suppose when we talk about course applied physics, when we talk about physics course, I have to formulate its syllabus in such a way that they should have clear idea after completing that particular course, what will be the outcome achieved by a student. So here curriculum design must start with clear definition of intended outcomes that students are going to achieve by the end of program. So it is not just so designing a curriculum not only for just one course, but it is for full program. So program here we are talking about BTech program. Course we are talking about physics course. So here overall design of a particular course should be done in such a way that the student should be able to know foremost itself what exactly he is going to achieve after completing that course. So that curriculum design is a must. And of course, once we design our curriculum, we have to decide what are the instructional methods we are going to use in order to achieve desired result. So this instructional method, like whether we are going to go for seminars, of course, here just like previous old traditional system, in compared to outcome based education, here we are not going to follow chalk and board system. So here apart from that, we are going to make students study through PowerPoint presentations, seminars, tech talks, concept videos. So we are going to go for a lot of alternative assessment tools. So what are the different instructional methods we are going to follow in order to achieve desired result is very important. Then coming to third principle, high expectations. So when we talk about high expectations, so what teachers, they have to formulate their syllabus as well as program courses in such a way that they should establish high and challenging standards of performance. So they have to establish high challenging standards of performance in such a way that students should be encouraged in order to engage deeply into their learning. So we have to set a goal to students in such a way that they should be motivated, they should be encouraged so much so that they can achieve their learning. And also here, of course, we'll focus students to achieve high standards. And what is our main intention? As I told you, they should to make them capable to face global competition. And next one is last principle of outcome based education is expanded opportunities. So here when we talk about, of course, opportunities, once they complete this course, they should be ready to face the world. They should be open with their employment, okay, or for their higher studies. So here teachers, they should always try to provide expanded opportunities for all students. And the idea behind this is to not just making the learner learn the same thing in the same way, but making them learn different things by using different methods. So that is nothing but making them, like providing them with different opportunities. So every year just going with chalk and board mode of teaching, it won't be acceptable. So every time students should be like, we have to throw challenge before them, and we have to keep on going with different instructional methods so that they can learn same thing in innovative way. So that is the main principle. So these are the 4 principles. Based on this, we have to provide education to students. Next we talk about outcome based education process. And here, of course, when we talk about the process that is involved in outcome based education, so what is the ultimate outcome here is, of course, this process, this outcome based, if you are going to follow outcome based education, we are going to create a learning environment. Okay, so here, and that learning environment, how it is going to support them, that supports the learning activities appropriate to achieve the desired learning outcome. So here we are not just going by one method, but we are going with all possible methods in order to make learning activities more attractive and more, encouraging for the students to come out with desired learning outcomes. And here, of course, more focus, as I told you, as outcome based education, it is completely based on what is the teaching method we are doing and how we are going to assess the students, whether how they are able to achieve their outcomes. So that assessment part is also very important when we talk about outcome based education. So here more focus, of course, on teaching methods. What are the methods we are using, for the students to understand, to gain knowledge. And second one is whether in order to assess whether they are following that method of teaching, whether they are able to understand or not, what are the assessment tasks. So in previous traditional system, we'll just go by mark system. But now assessment task, different assessment tasks are taken so that we can achieve our intended learning outcomes. And when we talk about this outcome based education process, as we have discussed our principles, there are mainly three components that are going to focus on this outcome based approach. First method is, so here as you can see, these three particular components we are going to focus in our next slides, which we are going to discuss today in this video. So coming to first component, as you can see here, first what we are going to do, so what is the first process method? Here we are going to make explicit statement of learning. Okay, so we are going to frame statements, and those statements, they are called as outcomes. So these are called as learning outcomes, course learning outcomes. They are called as course outcomes. So what we are going to do, we are going to frame a statement of learning, and what is the intention behind making those statements, and those statements, they are going to give us, they are going to express what are the outcomes that are going to reflect educational aims, purposes and values. So first clear statements are given. Those clear statements, as I told you, they are called as course learning outcomes, and those course learning outcomes, they should focus, or they are going to reflect what are the educational aims, purposes and values. And coming to second component that is involved here, and of course after making those statements, next step is what is the method we are going to follow. So what is the way of approach intended in order to successfully achieve that outcome. So here method or approach to enable the intended learning to be achieved. So we should focus on it and demonstrate it to the students. And here in this case, of course, here what are the different methods? Of course, designing a curriculum, and what is the teaching method involved, and what type of learning outcome we are focusing, and how we are assessing the students, and what type of support and guidance tools is being provided to students. So this is the second thing that is involved in OB process. Then coming to last one, of course, here is, of course, after framing outcomes based on educational aims, purposes, and then next following different instructional methods, then in the end, what should be our main criteria? So main criteria is assessing whether that student has achieved particular outcome or not. In what way we are going to assess students. Now, when we talk about effectiveness of outcome based education, so here this particular PPT, so here it is going to give us clear view of how we are going to achieve for all those three different processes involved. First one is formulating a statement. Second one is going for different instructional methods. And then third one is, of course, on what, like how we are going to assessing a student so that he can achieve that learning outcome. So when we talk about the key constraints of outcome based education, so first, a particular college or university, they are going to focus on vision and mission of a particular program. So they are going to focus on vision and mission of a particular program. After that, we are going to frame what are the educational objectives for a particular program. And here we are talking about BTech program. So here this is for engineering students. So BTech, of course, this is our program. And coming to my course, that is applied physics. So it will come under course. So this applied physics, it will come under course. So first what we are going to do, first we are going to frame vision and mission. Okay. After that, next what we are going to do, we are going to frame what are the objectives for a particular program, that is BTech. And then after that, for that BTech, they're if you are going for a BTech degree or engineering program, there are specified outcomes. So there will be around 12 specified outcomes given for BTech program. So that program outcomes also we have to we have to make them, like when we have to use them when we are or otherwise we can say that we have to keep them in mind, and we have to focus our learning outcomes based on those program outcomes. So every course outcomes are framed in such a way that ultimately our goal is to achieve program outcomes. So here, so next step is to make those program outcomes which are already framed, and they are 12 in number, and actually these objectives, they may be 3 or 4 in number, and coming to these program outcomes, they are 12 in number, and out of those 12, 5 will be our 5 program outcomes, they are technical, and whereas 7 program outcomes, they are non-technical. So we have to frame our statements of learning outcomes, so that keeping in mind to achieve these program outcomes. And then of course, as I told you, we have to focus our course outcomes. So now comes my applied physics course. So this applied physics course, I have to design my curriculum, and also have to frame my course outcomes in such a way that ultimately my goal is to first satisfy program outcomes, and then program objectives, and ultimately overall vision and mission of the college. So we have to design. So main thing is articulation of curriculum. So here mainly we are focusing on articulation of curriculum, and also here, as you can see here, attributes. So they are also called as attributes. So we are designing in such a way that by going step by step from higher to lower mode. So the next, just we'll try to see how this outcome based education is better than normal traditional education system. So here, of course, this traditional learning system, it is also called as content-based learning. So this, as you can see here, I have taken some points. So by comparing those points with outcome-based education and content-based education, so we'll have clear idea which one is better suitable for students in order to complete a particular program. So here, as you can see onto the left side, I'm focusing on this traditional education system, which is also called as content-based learning. And then here on the right side, I'm focusing on our outcome-based education. So here, this is also called as, of course, outcomes, not only just outcome-based education, it can also be called as outcomes. So system which is made in order to achieve certain outcomes. So here, talking about this content-based learning system, usually here we say that students involved in content-based learning system, they are passive students. Whereas students which are involved in outcome-based education, they are active learners. Now, why students will be passive students here? Because they are going to follow the same mode of instructional method, and they are going to follow same tool in order to get that. So same course will be taken, same time, using same type of tool and same type of assessment. So students, they are going to lose interest overall. But whereas in this outcomes based learning system, so here we have our active learners, because they are always like they will be given different challenges, they are given different types of tooling methods in order to understand a particular course. So like suppose when I talk about our particular like one assessment tool, suppose I'm talking about this TikTok videos. So in this TikTok videos, what we are going to do, we are we are giving students one topic from a particular course, and then we'll make them explore in such a way that they are going to gain knowledge, they are going to collect knowledge from different sources, and they are going to present, they are going to make nice PPT, and they are going to present it before their teachers. So that is going to make them gain different knowledge. So whereas just following a test book and then just following chalk and board method, that is going to make students inactive. Whereas this outcome based education, they'll make them more active by just throwing different challenges to them. And then of course, when we talk about assessment process, here in content based learning system, it is just the exam system and the grade system. But here when we talk about outcome based education, here continuous assessment will be there. So what do you mean by continuous assessment? Not just final exam or grades. So we are going to focus this assessment process. It will be done. Suppose if we are talking about one semester. So in one semester, first they are made to write a continuous internal examination. After that, they are made to write quiz examination, and then they'll have tech talks, concept videos, then PowerPoint presentations, seminars. So like this term papers, so they are exposed to different types of assessment tools. And also it is not just end exam system, but continuously after just like after certain period of time within a system, they are being assessed. So here we'll have continuous assessment. And coming to learning, So here, of course, when we talk about learning process, simply we'll say that it is a rote learning, same old rote learning. Okay. Whereas here, when we talk about learning, here they are exposed to critical thinking. So they are given different concepts in such a way that they should make use of their, not only just searching for the knowledge, but they have to make use of their own thinking, so that they can come out with better results. So here critical thinking is their reasoning, reflection, as well as action. So totally students are made to evolve to understand that particular course. And next is here content based. Here usually curriculum, it is broken into subjects. Whereas here, when we talk about the subject content, here we are focusing on integration knowledge, learning relevant, whether it is relevant for students to study that course or not. And also it focuses on connected real life situations. So mostly we are going to focus on real time applications after learning that particular course. And from where he's going to gain knowledge in case of content based learning system. So what is the source of his knowledge? Source will be simply textbooks, worksheets, or teacher, whatever notes being provided by a teacher. But when we talk about outcome based education, here what we are going to do, learner centered. So here comes critical thinking capability of a particular student as well as educator. Okay, so it is the mutual collaboration between the instructor as well as the learner. And of course, here we'll have here students, they are motivated, they are encouraged to work in group or team. So here teamwork will be better taken into account by the students. And then next one is here when we talk about this content based or traditional old traditional system, here they are going to when we focus on that syllabus, same old syllabus, same syllabus, it will be repeated again and again, and it will be rigid and non-negotiable. So it is it is not being reframed again and again depending upon the requirement of a particular student. But when we talk about outcome based education, here learning programs, as we because what is the first process involved in outcome based education, we are going to make statements, and those in order to achieve those statements, we are going to focus on our instructional methods. So here whatever learning methods are used in order to achieve those outcomes, they should be innovative and creative in case of outcome based education. And as well, we are going to frame our curriculum or activities in such a way that they are going to use innovative and creative methods. Then next here, in case of this old traditional system, here teachers and trainers, they are responsible for learning. So whole and soul, it's the responsibility of a teacher in order to make students learn. But here, not only, of course, teacher's responsibility, but also it is the responsibility of a student or learner. So he should be responsible for his learning. And of course, these learners, they are going to get motivated by constant feedback and the affirmation of worth. The next, of course, here in old traditional system, main focus on what teachers are going to achieve, but in outcome based education, here what learner is going to achieve and understand, focus will be there. And here in case of content based education, it is placed in certain rigid time frame. So one time limit is framed. But here, of course, here also time frame will be there, but the time frame, it will be flexible, not rigid like old traditional system, but here it will be flexible, and learners, they are going to work in their own pace. Okay, so here chance is given for slow learners as well as fast learners. So here time frames are created. So targets are created in such a way that both slow as well as time learners, they can achieve whatever outcome is framed for that particular curriculum. Now, till now we were talking about this outcome based education. Now next we'll focus on, of course, how as we first task of outcome based education is we have to create learning outcomes, and how those learning outcomes are made, how they are formulated. So there is a language for formulating these learning outcomes. So that language, it is called as Bloom's taxonomy. So we are going to see and what exactly is Bloom's taxonomy, and then we are going to apply this outcome based education to our applied physics course. So when we talk about this Bloom's taxonomy, so it is an arranged ordering of cognitive skills that can among countless other users, help teachers teach and students learn. So here what we are doing, we are placing different tasks before the students, not just remembering and understanding, but after just taking that knowledge, after taking a particular course, so how he is going to apply it, or how he is going to go for critical thinking in order to create a new product, or logical thinking. So based on that, here this Bloom's taxonomy, it is going to have different ordering of cognitive skills. So in that 6 levels, first one is remember. So first level of Bloom's taxonomy is to remember. So in this, if we talk some examples, so what comes under remember? So it is just like memorizing. Suppose memorizing a poem, or recalling certain definitions or terms which he has already learned in his previous studies, and then remembering some formula. So all these actions, they'll come under this level of Bloom's taxonomy, which is remember. So simple one or lowermost level of Bloom's taxonomy is remembering. And then second level is understanding. So whatever is being taught, okay, whatever is framed for him, whether he is able to understand. So when we talk about this understanding level, here what he is going to do, suppose just simple thing, simple when we talk here, suppose when we talk about animal kingdom, how he's going to organize from lower to higher level a animal kingdom based on a given framework, or suppose from his knowledge how he's going to differentiate between what exactly is a rectangle and what is a square. Like square has 4 equal sides, rectangle has 2 opposite sides equal. So like that, whether like whatever he has taken from that, how he is able to understand and how he is going to differentiate one thing from the other thing. And suppose if he is given one particular task or particular, suppose when we talk about this applied physics course, suppose when we tell him about a particular experiment, so how he is going to summarize that experiment, like what he is going to achieve, what is his ultimate outcome of that experiment. So that come under understanding. Then coming to third level of Bloom's taxonomy is to apply. So once he understands the concept taken in curriculum, so next level, third level is how he is going to apply that knowledge. So here in that, like one simple example is how he is going to use that formula in order to solve a particular new problem. So when we project a new problem to a student, so by the information which he has gained, which he has understood, how he is going to use that particular previous information in order to solve a new problem, or select a design to meet a purpose, and then reconstruct the new law. So suppose one law is there, so now thinking that law in different frames, so that is applying them to different systems will also come under applying. Then coming to fourth level, so next 3 levels, they are higher levels of Bloom's taxonomy or cognitive thinking skills. So fourth step is analyzing. So when we talk about analysis, so after remembering, understanding and applying, then next is he'll start analyzing the information. So in analyzing, suppose like suppose if there is one preparation method, suppose there is material synthesis part is there. So what he is going to do, he is going to explain how the steps of process involved in that synthesis method. So he is going to put them together, and he is going to identify how a machine, like if we are given a machine, why that machine, what is the process of its working, or why that machine is not working, that analysis or identifying or explaining certain process of fabrication. So that will come under analyzing. Then talking about evaluate, which is the fifth level. So in that evaluation process, he is going to make judgment regarding an ethical dilemma, or he is going to interpret the significance of a given law of physics, or he is going to illustrate the relative value of a technological innovation. Okay, so like this, or he's going to get a tool that helps recover the topsoil forming, like that. So all this will come under evaluated. Last method, higher level of Bloom's taxonomy, final method is create. So by putting all these 5 levels together, what is the outcome he's going to achieve? Like designing or giving a product. So designing a new solution to an old problem, or so like when we talk in English, like after learning so many poems given by different authors, now he's going to write his own poem. That is nothing but creating. So these are the different levels of thinking. So that is what I have given in this particular slide. So as you can see here, remember. So in this, remember, what is he going to do? Just retrieving the relevant knowledge from long time memory, and then we have our understand, determining the meaning of instructional messages, and then we have apply, carrying out or using a procedure in a given situation, and then analyze, breaking material into its parts and detecting how they work together. So this is one example, good example in order to understand this analyze level. And then evaluate is making judgment based on criteria and standards. And then we have create, putting elements together to form a novel, so completely new, coherent whole or make an original product. And of course, as we have used those terms in this Bloom's taxonomy, when we just same levels, if we want to put them in a little bit simple words, so that remember we can put it as receiving, and then understanding level we can put it as responding, and then next is applying is valuing, and then next we have our level which is of course analyzing, and of course evaluating, so that will come under organizing, and then last higher level we can take it as characterizing. So these are the simpler words that will help us to understand those basic 6 levels of those cognitive skills. Now, whatever information we have just taken, like what are the different processes involved in outcome based education, and of course how it is different from our old traditional education system, and then after that what is the language or what are the levels that are used for the students in order to always raise their standard limit. So that is nothing but Bloom's taxonomy. So now we are going to apply it to our course, which is applied physics course. So here, just quickly, if you are taking a course, so what are the steps of preparing course, like outline? So this will give us outline of preparing different steps for a course. So as you can see here, I have given, of course, 6 steps. First one is we should have information about a course syllabus. Then after that, academic session, and then instructor profile, of course, course objective, learning outcome, and in the end, most important is course learning outcome to program outcome mapping. Now here, in of course step 1, so in introduction, so what we are going to do, first step is, of course, as I told you, these are the 6 things which we are involved. And then second step is content. So we have to select a topic and align it with the course learning outcome. Then we have to make strategy for teaching and learning, and then class schedule and lesson plan. And then third step is assessment. So these are the different methods, different steps involved for outlining a particular course. And then third step is assessment. So in that assessment, we should have assessment strategy, and then assessment tool selection, and then evaluation policy and grading. And fourth one is, of course, resources. So this resources, it can be textbook or reference, or it can be other resources, and it is followed by semester and revision. Now, of course, these are the 4 levels of outcomes for outcome based education, as I have already explained. First one is what are the objectives of a particular program, and then what are the outcomes from that program, and then suppose if we take engineering, BTech, in that BTech we have different branches. It can be computer science and engineering, or it can be electrical communication engineering. So based on that, what particular branch we are selecting, so every branch, it is going to have a specific outcomes for that program. And then in the end, we have to frame outcomes for the course which is related to that particular program. Now coming to this applied physics, in this applied physics, as you can see, when we just have a look at the course syllabus, there are 5 modules. So in that 5 modules, first module is quantum mechanics, where we completely talk about wave nature of a particle. And here we are going through the different like experiments, and of course different expressions, and we are going to frame one equation for a particle which is moving. And then coming to second method, it is focusing on basics of semiconductors and solids, where we are going to differentiate solids based on their conductivity phenomena, where we talk about conductor insulators and of course semiconductors. Then in module 3, we are going to focus completely on devices, semiconductor devices. Like mostly we are focusing on optoelectronic devices like LED, photo detector or solar cell. And before that, we are going to discuss about diodes. What exactly is a diode, how it is formed, what are its VI characteristic, then energy band diagram, biasing. So like that, we are going to focus on diode and of course application of diode in different semiconductor devices. And then fourth module, we are going to focus on application oriented, or they are also called as functional materials. So in that functional materials, we have dielectric materials and magnetic materials. So we are going to focus on these materials, what is their significance, what is their application, how to understand these materials. We are going to focus in this fourth module. And then coming to fifth module, we are going to talk about lasers and fiber optics. So how exactly lasers are like, what are their applications in day-to-day life and why they are completely different from normal light. So that their basic principle of laser, and of course along with laser we have this optical fiber communication system. Nowadays we are not just going with that normal coaxial communication system or coaxial copper transmission system, but we are going for this optical fiber communication system. So what are the advantages of this optical fiber communication system, that we are going to understand from this module 5. So this is our syllabus. So first we are going to see what are the object, of course this is the course overview. Just now I have given you course overview. As we have seen that this course, it is made in such a way that students, they should be able to understand the core topics in physics which are essential for their engineering. And of course here this course, it has been focused on illustrating and developing and understanding, which is going to correlate them with problem solving, as well as their practical applications by using modern equipment as well as experimental techniques. And of course this course, it is going to make them aware of topics like quantum mechanics, semiconductors, optoelectronic devices, magnetism, dielectrics, lasers and fiber optics. And in the end, after getting aware of all those topics, they are going to appreciate the diverse real-time applications, okay, in technological fields. Then what are the objectives? So we are going to frame objectives. These are the course objectives. Of course, this program educational objectives, they are about a particular program where we are going to focus about professional and career accomplishment. So after finishing graduation by a student, what is going to achieve? So that accomplishment, they are kept in program educational objectives. So here mainly program educational objectives, they are usually written from different perspectives, like career, technical competency and behavior. Now, but here in this particular PPT, here in this slide, I have written objectives for a course. So here we are talking about course objectives. Of course, course objectives, they are framed keeping in mind program educational objectives. So in that first objective is, of course, students, they are going to learn basic formulations in wave mechanics for the evaluation of energy levels. And of course, he's going to understand better about quantization of energy when we are going to confine a particle in a mathematical box. And here we are taking help of mathematical description. And coming to second objective, we are focusing, like students, they are going to understand, or they are going to learn fundamental properties of semiconductors, including the band gap, charge carrier concentration, doping, and of course different transport mechanisms. And then he's also going to learn metrics of optoelectronic components, lasers, fiber optic communication, and he's going to incorporate them into different systems for optical for optimum performance. Then of course in the end, he's going to find the appropriate magnetic or dielectric functional materials required for various engineering applications. Now, so keeping this course, having that syllabus and objectives, we are going to frame, as I told you, that first step is to frame a statement, formal statement of learning outcomes for a particular course. Those are called as course outcomes. And when we are making those course outcomes, our main focus is what students are expected to learn in that course. And also, while we are framing them, generally, this is the strategy we are going to follow. So here, main strategy is what students should be able to do. Okay, so here, of course, it should focus on what they will be able to do and behavior wise, and also what is the ending result or resulting evidence. So based on that, for this applied physics course, 10 course outcomes are made. So first course outcome, it will come under remember, which is the lower level of Bloom's taxonomy, and here it is given, that statement it is given as recalling classical mechanics being replaced with wave equation by using experiments that reveal the wave properties of matter. Here we are talking about quantum mechanics. So first two course outcomes, they are made based on quantum mechanics, and second one, which comes under level of apply, here we are going to make use of quantum mechanical description in Schrodinger's equation for simple systems and interpretation of wave functions. Then for second module, we made use of these next two, third and fourth course outcomes. So here third outcome, it will come under the level of understand, and fourth level, it will come under the level of apply. So when we talk about third level, it is going to illustrate the charge transport mechanism in intrinsic and extrinsic semiconductors by quantizing the charge carrier density. And then after we get to know about these semiconductors, then we are going to apply that knowledge in order to study the behavior of charge carriers by using the phenomenon of Hall effect. And then next, fifth and sixth course outcomes, they are related to third module. So here fifth course outcome, it is going to focus on understand. Here they are going to get detailed knowledge of fundamental and applied aspects of optoelectronic devices, and then after getting that knowledge, he is going to apply it to certain device in order to learn device characteristics of LEDs, photodiodes and solar cells. And then coming to seventh and eighth, they are also under the level of understand and apply. So in seventh level, he is going to understand different principles related to ferroelectric materials, and in the eighth outcome, he is going to understand why different materials will exhibit different magnetic properties and which material is best suitable for engineering applications. And then last two course outcomes. One outcome, it is going to make them understand about lasers, how they are different from normal light and what are their applications in day-to-day life. And then last outcome, which is on fiber optic communication, it is going to understand how optical fiber, in that optical fiber, how information can be propagated and how attenuation can be lowered, as well as what exactly is the phenomenon of dispersion and what are the different components involved in optical fiber communication system. And of course, as I told you, always course outcomes, they are based on they are made in such a way that ultimately program outcomes are to be achieved. So these program outcomes, they are for a particular program and they are broad in scope, and students is able to do it at the end of program. And these POs, they are in line with graduate attributes, and they should be specific, measurable and achievable. So as I told you, if you look at this first five program outcomes, so first program outcomes, it talk about engineering knowledge, then we have problem analysis, then design development of solutions, then next is conducting investigation of complex problems, next one is modern tool usage. So these are technical, they'll come under technical program outcomes. Then coming to next 7 program outcomes, in that sixth one is engineering society, then we have environment and sustainability, then we talk about ethics, then individual and teamwork, and then communication, project management and finance, and then last one is lifelong learning. So these are called as non-technical program outcomes, and these course outcomes are made in order to focus on these program outcomes. So next thing is, whatever course outcomes are made for a particular course, so they are relevant to which program outcome, so that assessment has to be done. So for whatever course outcomes we have made for applied physics course, which I have shown you, there are total 10 course outcomes. So out of those techniques, we have mainly focused on, because it's a core syllabus physics course, so we have focused on technical program outcomes. So in those technical program outcomes, whatever course outcomes are done, they are suitable for, of course, program outcome 1, 2 as well as 4. And to how much extent they are being mapped to those program outcomes. Suppose if I write 3, it means that 3 means they are very highly correlated. So they are highly related to that particular program outcome. So whatever course outcomes are made for applied physics, they are highly related to first program outcome, where he is going to achieve engineering knowledge. And of course, medium attainment, for problem analysis, and then of course it is little bit related to investigating complex programs and how it is going to assess. So it can be through continuous internal examination, quiz, AATs or seminars. And then suppose if I try to take one specific program, like suppose of course we have taken BTech. In that BTech, if I focus on computer science and engineering students, so generally those students, they are going to have three program specific outcomes, and then this course outcome related to applied physics, it is more suitable for third one, program specific outcome related to computer science and engineering. And here that outcome, of course this specific outcome is where we are making use of modern computer tools for creating innovative career paths. So here level of mapping is 1, so strength of mapping is 1, and it can be achieved by making use of laboratory experiments. And this mapping, it is done in this table. So this is also called as a course articulation matrix, where we are going to map COs with POs. So course outcomes with the program outcomes. So this is course articulation matrix, which shows educational relationship between the course outcomes and program outcomes, and it is going to help us to understand whether students is able to achieve the course learning objective or not. And of course this matrix, it can be for any course, and it helps us to evaluate a particular course syllabus. So as you can see here, these are 10 course outcomes framed for applied physics course, and these are 12 program outcomes and 3 specific outcomes. So when we talk about each course outcome, so as you can see, it is more suitable for first program outcome. Coming to course outcome 2, then it is suitable for first 2 program outcomes. So it will help us to know course outcomes, using those course outcomes, which program outcomes can be achieved. And then finally, of course, we have made our outcomes. Now next one is how we are going to achieve those outcomes. So what are the methods we are using, and what is the assessment tool? So generally here, in our college, so what we are going to do, we'll go for this continuous assessment, which is required for outcome based education. So generally, if we are taking one course, evaluation is done for total 100 marks. In that 100 marks, 30 marks will be continuous internal assessment, and 70 marks for semester end examination. And when we talk about this continuous internal assessment, it has like different steps. So when I talk about this different steps about this continuous internal assessment, here out of 30 marks, 20 marks we are going to focus on exam. Here after finishing half of syllabus, suppose if I have 5 modules, after finishing 2.5 modules, we are going to put one descriptive exam, which is called as continuous internal examination. It is for 20 marks. And then after finishing rest half of the syllabus, we are going to conduct one more CIE2, and then we are going to take average of CIE1 and CIE2. And apart from that, what are the different tools we are using? We are using quiz, and also we are using alternative assessment tools. Now what are alternative assessment tools? So here when we talk about this alternative assessment tools, we are making use of concept videos, assignments, and then tech talks, seminars, and open-ended experiments. So like this continuous assessment will be there, and when student is thrown to such targets, then the way he will try to learn those things, his exploration, it will go to very high level, and with this there will be overall personality development of a student. So I hope that in this video, whatever I have taken about outcome based education and how it is going to help a student to understand about that course and his whether he is going to achieve ultimate goal of doing a particular program. So with this, I'm going to end my session here. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.